International winner Old Birds, Hardebol John, Castricum, the Netherlands. The international winner from St. Vincent, International, 2022 in the category Old Birds is Hardebol John, Castricum, the Netherlands. The Pigeon was clocked on Saturday at 6:26 Central European Summer Time, after a race of 1,092.19 kilometers, achieving an average velocity of 1,092.47 meter per minute. John, employed as head landscaping at Pigeon, worked exposed with the pigeon sport through his father Klaas, then also residing in Castricum. Father was a bona fide pigeon hobbyist and loved the fun in the club more than a prize with the pigeons. When he became sick and could no longer continue the beloved sport, John took over the functions in the loft, and when father died in 1988, he carried on a devoted fancier. In his time with his father, he played in the program races but also liked to take part in long-distance races, such as Bergerac of the department. And slowly, the passion for the marathon races, especially the ZLU races, grew. During his military service, he got in touch with Frank Jacobs from Beek in Limburg during an exercise. Both stared after pigeons that arrived home. Soon together had a subject to talk about. Frank then gave him his first real long-distance bird. It was one of the kinds of the then long-distance aficionado Jacques Vischer from Beek. In 2011, he moved with his family, wife Miranda and both daughters Tessa and Leek, to his current address and decided to focus more on the ZLU flights. In the spacious garden was a barn that served as a hobby room for the previous owner. The municipality allowed him to build a loft for the pigeons. It consists of 5 departments. 1 department for the 6 to 7 breeding pairs, 1 department for the approximately 50 youngsters, and 3 departments for 24 racing pairs. In the beginning, it didn't really work out in this loft and there was a lot of tinkering. Advice from Dick Duindam. Climate advice from Almelo brought improvement. In front of the loft is a run where only the front is open. The loft is oriented north. 1 department is on the south side. Light plates have been installed on the roof to allow the sun to enter. A thick layer of straw has been applied to the loft and only the nest boxes are cleaned. John only removes the accumulated manure and regularly refills the straw. In the garden, there is a stone box, a former chicken coop of 2 by 2 meters, which offers accommodation to 7 pairs of racing pigeons. In the construction of his long-distance loft, John looked for pigeons that were suitable to handle the greater distances to his loft. Over the years, pigeons from Jan Rolofs from Almer came from his Monte Koppel, Dennis Borkant from Ridgen, and Tinus T. Gen from Castricum. From Dennis Borkantheim's hen of Tinus T. Gen, he bred a pigeon that won 4 of Barcelona out of the 6 times he went there. From Cor Schirmer from Castricum came boys from his Nighthawk couple. Through Wouter Mealing from Beverwijkerstrw, something came out of the Golden 10 of Fre de Boer from Beverwijkerstrw and from a son of Orion X Kweeksterch of Gel Jalima. From this, there is a pigeon with John who has already won 3 prizes and is now in the breeding loft. Keep everything as simple as possible. This is also the case with John, it is simplicity. As a basic mixture, it has the standard flying and breeding mixture of Mariman and adds approximately 5% purification. In addition, P40, Tovo, Grit, and Redstone. They get this mix daily in the food bowl and John sees if they eat enough. For the last 3 days, he feeds the flocks that go along in the nest box with more energy-rich seeds and grains such as candy, hemp, and flaxseed. In addition, he also alternately uses various nutritional supplements and products on an organic basis over the feed to make everything complete when the pigeons enter the basket. For the season he will check with Van der Sluy Stefan Gobel. If something is wrong, something will be given. John Hardebol had basket 7 pairs of nesting pigeons on eggs for about 10 days for Tarbes, St. Vincent, ZLU in NIC Wormerva. On Friday evening he could have already followed on the PIPA site what time the first arrivals in France and Belgium went. For him, it was unlikely that another pigeon would come through in the Netherlands. But he had no peace of mind and stayed up until midnight. About a month ago he was with Dr. van der Sluys had visited Kokkingen and had released the pigeons at 9:15 p.m. to get them home before dark. This allowed them to learn to fly for a long time, approximately 50 kilometers. His hen, Leek, who now won the national and international victory, came home at 22:45. 10 days later the pigeons were brought away again and now to Ramdangsveer, approximately 90 kilometers, and they were now released at 20.50. Then, Leek also came home at 22.45 hours. It was not without risk, says John, because there are quite a few high-voltage cables on these routes. Also as a yearling, Leek was at home at ZLU Agen at 23.22 hours and then flew the 459th National against 6,804 pigeons. John had told his wife Miranda that he wanted to get up very early to wait for his hen. He was very confident that she would either fly for a long time or be up early. John already experienced that in 1 year's time on the last 3 races of the ZLU, namely Marseille, Narbonne, and Perpignan, he got a pigeon at home in the evening at 22.55, 22.25, and 22.15 respectively. A rarity. Saturday morning. He was already out of bed at 4:15 a.m. Quickly looked at the sites where possibly the first pigeons had arrived. After strengthening his inner man, he went outside. Given the drought of recent times, he decided to water his garden for a while so could keep an eye on the valve. While he was busy for some time, he suddenly saw a pigeon coming like a bullet between the houses and immediately dived into the valve. He immediately realized that it was the hen that he had hoped for. There she is, it went through his head. The time was 6:26 and 35 seconds a.m. After reporting to the NIC Wormerveer, she appeared first on the reporting lists soon after. Now it was still waiting for possible arrivals at the furthest distances. His pigeon friend Henri Elzinga from Wormerveer had also arrived and played for a telephone operator. It soon became clear that both nationally and internationally the victory had been achieved. John had to let everything sink in for a while. His biggest wish had been fulfilled, and this with his trusted hen, Leek. Quite an experience to never forget. The light-scratched hen with ring number NL20-14123332 became Leek, named after John's eldest daughter, after her national and international victory. It is a small and real balloon when she is in top condition. She was the first to draw in the basket to enter the basket of eggs for about 10 days. John was confident that she would not disappoint her boss. John is quite a devotee pigeon fancier and does tirelessly to bring the birds in the most favorable way. Regularly he is present at 5 o'clock to train and look after the birds, and also at nightfall he fills in the necessary hours on them. In keeping the management and counsel in the field of sports, he gets assistance from his brother-in-law Jack. He has been a devoted athlete himself, cycling and skating. Jack also provides hand and span services, and John is very happy with that. And then it happened, at Tarbes, St. Vincent, ZLU won the first national and international.